Sports on Tap is brought to you by Go To Pro Plumbing, Land and Sea Motorsports, On the Bay Customs Boutique and Cafe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
I don't know what we're yelling about!
I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game. We're talking about practice.
Loud noises!
Not a game.
This is the first time in my life I'm glad I'm deaf.
We're talking about practice, man.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
65.
63. Knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, with loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With music and straws dropping, they're getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening and you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and rock with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Welcome to this week's edition of Sports on Tap. I'm Chris Scott, alongside Joe Waddell and Frank Giagata. Gentlemen, how are we?
Doing well.
Doing good.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
How about you?
Yeah, can't complain, I suppose.
Yeah.
Had a 3-day weekend, so that was nice.
Yeah, same with me. It was very nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Can't complain about that.
No, certainly not. So that definitely helps.
Yeah.
Let's just get into it. Let's get into the Lions. We have to, unfortunately. I fucking hate talking about this fucking franchise, but there was actually news, from our last broadcast. So we should probably dive into that a little bit. They have hired a general manager, Brad Holmes, coming from the Los Angeles Rams. The director of college scouting, I believe that's what his title was with the Rams.
Yeah, it was scouting in general.
Okay,
for draft and for free agency, I believe.
Right,
for both.
Which, okay.
I mean, all in all, from all accounts, I mean, from what you can see from the outside and from what I've read, he's good at his job.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's scouted pretty well for the Rams.
Right.
But I mean, a scout being brought in to be GM, is a big step.
Yeah. So to go along with that, all signs point to that Dan Campbell will be named the head coach, which again is kind of like, okay, so did this GM you just hired, did they have any input on this? Did they have any say on this? Like what? I don't know.
So they answered a little bit during the press conference.
Did they? I didn't want to listen to it because honestly, whatever.
Well, I was actually in the car
Yeah.
driving home, so I turned it on,
mm-hmm.
and they said they were doing both interviews simultaneously for GM and for coach, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they had a 4-person panel that was interviewing both.
So Rod Wood,
Sheila.
Chris
Spielman, and what's the other guy's name that's going to be doing the other part of the GM job?
Ooh, I'm going to look that up.
I forget his name.
I know who you're talking about.
Maloney or whatever, Maroney, somebody like that.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but he's like the behind the scenes guy who takes care of like the financial situations, the booking of travel, and all kinds of like GM stuff in that capacity. So it was them who were all in a group, basically interviewing these people.
Sounds like a stellar fucking group, man.
It's.
I usually ask the financial guy for his input when I'm
right.
coach.
And a guy that knows nothing about football by his own admission.
Yeah.
But yes.
So when they said if Holmes was going to have a say in the head coach, which we all know who it's going to be at this point, they just haven't announced it. The answer was pretty vague, and it was
vagueness from the Detroit Lions.
I know, right? It was he's going to have his input in now. So when we hire this coach, his input will have been taken into account.
So what if he says no? I don't want this guy.
Well, according to them during the interview
Like,
process,
honestly.
right,
Doesn't sound like that was an option.
That's my point.
According to them, during the interview process, they asked every GM candidate that they were interviewing to give them a list of head coaching candidates that they would choose if they came in. And apparently there were quite a few overlapping names on every one of them.
Okay.
But they also asked every head coaching candidate that they interviewed, what would be the list of GMs that you would choose?
Oh, okay.
So that's a who would you choose to be your boss, by the way? Like, that's just a weird question.
Yeah, it's an incredibly weird question.
Who would you like to be your boss?
So were they on each other's lists, or
I don't. They didn't say.
You'll never know.
They didn't say. You will never know.
You'll never know. So basically, honestly, my thoughts on the GM hire and the coach hire literally does nothing for me, for two reasons. One, I don't give this organization the benefit of the doubt on anything they fucking do, and two,
which is fair.
Honestly, I don't care. I don't fucking care. Like, whatever they could hire Bill Belichick and I wouldn't care. Like, honestly. The only one that would actually somewhat pique my interest is if they hired Adam Gase to see your head explode.
Oh my god! You know what's great is my head wouldn't explode. I would actually be so excited for football season.
That's my point.
Yeah, I would just be so pumped for football season.
That's my point.
I'm disappointed we're not sitting here talking about Marvin Lewis right now for no other reason than your head exploding.
Right. That would have
same thing. I would have just started laughing. My head would have exploded from laughter.
You would have been just so excited for next football season,
right.
which I already love football season anyway. You guys know that, but
right.
I would have been if they hired Adam Gase. I could not. Football season could not have gotten here fast enough. I would have just tried to rush everything.
Yeah.
Just because I would want to talk about the shit show that would happen.
Yeah, that's
Mike Dissner.
Mike Dissner.
Mike Dissner. Yeah.
Didn't that guy have like a minor song hit in like the 90s or something?
Mike Dissner?
Yeah.
I mean, there was Mike Posner.
That's who I'm thinking of. Mike Posner, my bad.
Yeah, Mike
that was in
Posner.
like 2010.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
But he was a local kid.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and it was 10 years ago.
Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, it does nothing for me, and honestly, like I said, I don't care. This organization, I don't care.
So I you know me. I hate this organization. I care only because, one, it helps us talk about things because we're local with Detroit. I care about that aspect of it and having something to talk about.
All right, all right.
I know.
Yes.
No, I understand. I know what you meant.
Yes.
So when I say I care about it for this aspect and the fact that I enjoy shitting on that franchise. When it comes down to the hire, I'm not going to bash it yet because I feel I need to be fair. And I think sometimes people think I'm not fair with the Lions, and I need to be fair with this. Last time they made a hire was Patricia, right? Mm-hmm. And my exact words were, you missed out on Vrabel. He was the guy. Patricia will ruin the franchise, and he'll be fired within 3 years. Now, all that came true.
Yes, it did.
With this one, I'm not quite on that level. Mm-hmm. Because I think they got it right from certain aspects. The guy knows scouting. They need players. They've been talentless on every side of the ball. So as far as a guy that can help them in drafts and can help them with their draft picks and not fail in the draft like they always do, I think they might have gotten that right. When it comes down to having a GM that has literally no experience, and you're going to take half the GM job away from him, and everything's going to be a collaboration because they, in the interview today, they didn't say who was going to have final say in anything. It was going to be a collaboration. They were asked several times, who has final say on roster, on draft picks, on free agents? It's going to be a collaboration between the head coach and Holmes. Well, that organizations don't work like that. I'm sorry. You don't have a collaboration in an organization. You have a head that makes the decisions, and you take input from the other people, and you give the input down. You don't run an organization with hey, let's all sit in a circle and sing Kumbaya and figure out who we're going to take. That's just the dumbest thing ever.
It's literally supposed to be a pyramid. One guy at the top, and everything works its way out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in that aspect, I don't think it's going to work very well. And I also don't think it's going to work very well when you do that and you have literally no experience in anything. There's nobody with experience in that collaboration of what they're doing. They have experience in other fields, but their actual jobs, they don't really have experience. So what's the collaboration going to look like when they all are new to their jobs?
You'll have to excuse me. I have circus music going on in my head, so I apologize for that. Because that's what this organization is. It's a clown show. It's a flat out clown show. Literally everything you just said. It just screams SOL. SOL. That's all it says to me.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That's all it fucking says to me.
You're not wrong.
Like, you know, every successful organization has two heads of, heads of the company. Mm-hmm. It's like, fuck.
No, they don't.
Exactly. It's like, okay. Like I said, I had circus music going on in my head, so I apologize if I was a little quiet on that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Whatever. Again, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and I'm just gonna sit back and watch it implode like it always does. So
I'm kind of anxious to hear your input, Frank, because you actually still do care about this franchise, and you care about the hire.
So a couple weeks ago, I asked for one thing. I asked for them to go out and find the next guy, find the next Sean McVay, find whoever that guy might be. Mm-hmm. It really feels like we're taking a swing in the dark at two guys to be those next guys without either one of them really having any reason to believe that
didn't they just do this?
Be the next guy. That was the thought with Patricia, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Joe was Nostradamus on that one. Mm-hmm. He kind of saw the future and saw how that was all going to play out. And I think after you discussed it with us, especially back then, the points you made on him were completely fair. Like, you broke down the entire Super Bowl game and went, why do you believe that this guy is actually going to take your team to the next level? And I think if you knew sports and if you listened to the people who know this sport specifically, it was laid right out in front of you that this was not going to be that what happened was going to be the outcome.
But of course, you had people that knew nothing about fucking football.
Right. There were people who were still saying he should have stayed. I'm not saying inside the organization, but even in the fan base, there were people saying that Patricia should have gotten another year.
This organization, they always try to be like the smartest people in the room. Mm-hmm. Always.
Well, this
even in the face of common sense, they try to be the smartest people in the fucking room.
Well, and it's one thing too. There's still people that say Caldwell shouldn't have been fired. Well, hindsight's always 2020, right? I mean,
at that point, I didn't think he should have been fired either.
I did, for the simple fact that he wasn't going to take the team. So they were at a certain level with Caldwell, and it was proven basically that he got them to where he could get them to. He wasn't a good in-game coach. He wasn't going to get them any farther. And
but
for that
as a Lions fan, I looked at it and said,
they made the playoffs.
This is the furthest you've made it as an organization. I'm not saying that you need to bail on this and go to the next guy to take the next step.
Right.
I'm saying maybe we just stay here for a minute and just enjoy this. And then in a year or two, then we worry about
maybe change the culture. Maybe develop a winning culture.
Like, let's not, after 3 years of sort of winning, go, no, we're a winning program. We need to start winning.
Right.
No, you never were a winning program.
No.
And that was the one thing. That was the one thing about the Lions I've liked in recent years is that they saw they made the playoffs and they went, we want more.
Yeah, for a good organization, that's what you do.
And that's what I liked about it. But they didn't
have the guy.
They failed.
Yeah.
They didn't have the guy.
They failed miserably at.
You don't get rid of an experienced coach who can get you to an above 500 program and turn around and take the shot at the next guy. Now you're at the bottom. Now you can take that shot.
Right.
Because the worst thing that happens is you stay at the bottom.
Right.
So that's why, with you were saying, like, this doesn't do anything for me. I told Joe when you would walk out of the room right before we went on, this is the most I'll have to wait and see type of hire they could have made.
Mm-hmm.
It's two guys with no resume whatsoever, with no reason to believe that they're going to fail or succeed. There's just nothing here to make an opinion off of.
Right.
And I don't hate it, but for a team that's always made the wrong decision, I have a really hard time not thinking that that's another bad decision.
Right. And it's hard not to think that way.
Right.
It really, yeah. It's just...
I mean, I look at what Campbell did. I pulled up Campbell's stats. He does have interim head coaching experience. He was in Miami, when Philman got fired. Philman had him at 1-3 when he got fired. Campbell turned around and took him to a 5-7 record.
Yeah.
Not great. But for how bad that team was to begin with, that's impressive that you were able to string together 5 more wins out of a program that frankly shouldn't have had that many.
The only thing I say about his lack of experience is he's never called plays.
Yeah.
And to me, when you hire a head coach, they need to have had it's like anybody who runs a business, right? In my opinion, if you run a business,
well, whose opinion would it be? You're the one talking.
Mine. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
He
like,
speaks for me.
Yeah. in my, it's not. I'm just saying it's not everybody's opinion. Like, not everybody agrees with me. Dick.
Hey, you sit there and you take it. Normally, it's me he's coming after.
you got yours coming later.
You want to jump out the window? That's fine. I know how you feel.
You got yours coming later, buddy. No, but basically, just to say that obviously not everybody agrees with my opinion. This is just my opinion. Obvious, as you pointed out. It's
in 3 minutes of talking, all we've established is that your opinion is whatever
opinion.
you're about to say.
Because you fucking interrupted me. So you, a boss needs to know the jobs beneath him.
Absolutely.
In and out. I think if you're going to run a company, you're going to run anything, you need to know the jobs beneath you.
Yep.
You need to know what their job is thoroughly. And if you haven't done it, you don't know it. That's my thought on that whole thing is you need to know the jobs that you're going to be coaching, that you're going to be in charge of.
But this organization takes it as like they know something that the rest of the league doesn't know about
they
said
know
candidate.
how to consistently fucking lose.
And by all accounts, Dan Campbell is a leader.
That's what I've read that. I've read that everywhere. I've seen articles on.
So I got to give them credit for that. This is not really the Patricia hire, because Patricia was not a leader.
Nope.
He wasn't that guy, and it was apparent. It was pretty clear to a lot of people that he wasn't that guy.
But it wasn't clear to the right people.
That's true, but
and here's a question though, with you saying that he's a leader. I go back and I think of the 0-16 team, which he was on.
Yeah.
And I remember at that point, Chris and I didn't know each other at that point. You and I did. There were many conversations that were had about the fact that there was not a leader in that room.
No.
So all these years later, like, yes, maturity kicks in and things happen, but why am I supposed to believe that a guy who played on a team that I straight up said had no leadership is now the guy to be the leader for that same franchise?
I mean, that's
10 years later.
That's a valid question. It's a very valid question. I can't answer that for you.
And that's what my complaint is, I guess, about that hire.
Now, for fans such as yourself, not the slapdick fans can get fucked for all I care. But for fans like you who actually care, but actually look at this team logically and realistically, I hope it works out for you. I do. I don't think it will.
Yeah,
because there's no track record to say it will.
I've got to see and Joe again brought this up earlier, and it's probably the most important thing now. They've hired the defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And technically, we didn't even hire Campbell yet, but we've hired the defensive coordinator.
That's another collaborative effort, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Who's going to be the offensive coordinator? You've got to bring in somebody with offensive coordinator experience. You've got to at least get in somebody who's got play calling experience.
Yeah, I was going to hit that right there. You're 100% correct. He has to have play calling experience.
Like no offense to Dan Campbell, but just on paper, what he is. He was a former interim head coach. Mm-hmm. The OC was still there. The DC was still there. So they were still running the same thing they had been running the entire year.
Yeah.
You have a situation where he was in, or his most recent situation where he was in New Orleans. He was an assistant head coach, no play calling experience there. And he was a tight ends coach. You had nothing to do with game planning. The assistant head coach was at least in on those meetings, which is a step in the right direction. But on the defensive side, your defensive coordinator is a defensive backs coach. Again, not a guy with experience in play calling.
No.
Everybody across the board. And no offense to Stafford, if he's the guy they're going with, he's not Peyton Manning. He's not the guy calling the plays on the field for you.
No. Hey, shout out, Jay. Thanks for listening, bud. Sorry. Didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're good. So, yeah, it's just a situation where experience is the concern. And if it doesn't end up being a problem, great. We might actually have something here. But we'll worry about that in 2, 3, 4 years when they're able to put together a roster of guys that are actually able to do something.
Right.
I mean, we've got draft coming up that we've got to worry about. We've got free agency that they have to do something in.
I think the one thing they won't have to worry about at this point, from the research that I've done, from what I've looked up, is they won't have to worry as much about draft and talent, because I think Holmes really does have a grasp on that.
Well, I mean, you look at the moves that the Rams have made. I mean, that defense, they've added everything to. That's not like they built that team up. They added to them. Like, they built up a little bit, and then they've just added the pieces to it. So if he's scouting both pro and college guys, I mean, a lot of that's because of him.
I think since 2013, they only have like 4 or 5 players who are not still in the NFL. From their drafts, and the last 3 years they didn't even have a first round pick, but that team is full of starters that he's drafted. So from there, I'm going to say that they have that aspect under control. Hopefully.
Huh?
So we'll see.
We'll see where it goes. I mean, like I said, I honestly have no faith, and it's what it is.
I'm just this one's different for me because I'm not coming out here and laying scorched earth. You know what I mean? Like I did. With Patricia. Yeah. Like you guys remember, I was laying scorched earth on that hire.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
That to me, I was like, that's you're fucking wrong.
Once you defended everything that you had said,
yeah.
I mean, 3 years later, your points have been made.
And that's why I'm. This says something for the hire though, is I'm not willing to do that right now.
Yeah,
I'm not, and not like my opinion means that much to fucking anybody, but I'm here to give it, so you're gonna listen to it. It's not.
And you're gonna fucking like it.
Yeah, right. I'm not gonna lay scorched earth to these hires yet.
Honestly, I don't think any of these hires deserve that. I think Chris's reactions about, if you're going to be negative about it, Chris's reaction is probably the most appropriate. And that is just simply, I have no faith in them doing anything right, so I'm just going to assume this is wrong too. And that's completely fair.
I mean, when you got 60,
it is actually.
When you have 60 plus years of failure, yeah, okay. That's what it is.
So going from 60 years of failure to teams that had plenty of years of failure and are now winning.
To 59 years worth of failure who are now winning. Not literally.
I was going to go to Buffalo.
We can go to Buffalo.
Oh, we're just talking since the early 90s then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to Buffalo.
We can go to Buffalo. I'm okay with that.
They came out and played a hell of a game.
They did. They shut them down.
Against Baltimore.
They did.
They completely shut down that offense.
Yes, they did.
Their running game was non-existent. Lamar looked like he was lost.
He did. It looked like he was seeing ghosts.
He did. He looked like Sam Darnold back when he was playing the
Patriots.
Patriots.
Like he was seeing ghosts. Like
So
I was very, very happy with that game. I was thrilled with the way they played.
That's the defense.
It was. They came out and they said,
I've been
all
talking
right.
about for 3 weeks now.
And that crowd, for as small as it was, that's the loudest I've ever heard 6,500 people in a football stadium. Right. That was amazing.
Well, 6,700,
well,
but,
whatever. Yeah. So, semantics, asshole.
Yeah, those 200 people made a huge
You're going to take some shots at me. I'm going to take some shots at you.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, they played very, very well. Now, obviously, they're going to have to. The weather was not good. It was very cold. It was windy as hell.
Oh God, yeah, it was. That's why I kept texting you. I'm like, why are you kicking field goals in this?
That was insane to me.
Like, go for it.
Yeah, the
goalpost. For some
goalposts.
great internet videos though.
Oh God,
bunch of guys sitting there on the screen going like this, trying to get the ball to go to the side.
The goalposts were literally moving.
I'm watching.
So
yeah,
how do you kick field goals in that? Like, I just, especially longer ones. What are you doing?
When you have arguably the best kicker in the league misses 2 of them,
just stop.
Stop kicking field goals. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Stop kicking field goals and go for 2 on every touchdown.
Even with Sean McDermott, I'm like, dude, you see, like the best kicker in the league, arguably, is shanking them.
Yeah,
because it's windy as fuck.
And you've got
go for it.
You've got Tyler Bass.
Yeah, you got Tyler Bass. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tyler Bass has been good.
He's been solid.
But it's like
he's not Justin Tucker.
Judge the win, moron. Go for it. What's wrong with you? But I mean, I'm looking at the stats. Actually, you look at the stats. Baltimore, they had significantly outgained Buffalo, 340 to 220.
Really?
Yeah. But you can gain all the yards you want. It doesn't really matter. It all depends on the board. If you're not going to score, when you're not going to put 6 up,
it's bend and don't break.
Exactly.
You know, it's
Baltimore actually had more first downs too.
Yeah, Buffalo, their defense is finally coming back around to what it was last year.
Yep.
And it's the bend and don't break. So they have a really good defense in the red zone. And you could, like you said, you can let them gain all the yards they want. But if you can clamp them down and keep them to field goal attempts, then you're going to come close to winning every time. And we'll get to this other game, but that's kind of what happened in the KC game with Cleveland.
Yeah.
Is that defense has been bad all year, and we've talked about it many times. But they actually played a bend, don't break defense in that game, whereas even when Mahomes was out there, they held him to field goal attempts quite a few times. And that's kind of what kept them in that game until Mahomes got hurt, and then they were actually in it. But with Buffalo, they played it perfectly. Bend, don't break. And they didn't break.
I feel like that's the way defenses in the NFL generally play now, is because they kind of have to.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to, because you can't play shutdown, lockdown defense as much as you used to, because the rules are against you.
They 100% are against defenses. That's absolutely true.
Wow. Josh Allen only threw for 206 yards.
Yeah.
And they only rushed for 32 total yards.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry, that's absolutely fucking pathetic if you win a game that way.
Survive in advance, baby.
Right, and that's not a jab at the Bills. That's basically just a jab at Baltimore.
Right.
Like how you manage to have that happen.
Yeah. But
I'll take it.
Buffalo is moving on.
Yes, they are.
To the AFC Championship game.
To face the Kansas City Chiefs, who took out your Cleveland Browns.
Yes, they did.
Not before, though. His Cleveland Browns tried to kill Patrick Mahomes.
Right. Jesus.
There's being a lot made out about that too. There's a lot being made about that hit.
Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah. Which to me is ridiculous, and not speaking from fan perspective of the Browns, but speaking from football fan, that hit was no different than any other hit you're going to see on a Sunday. He got curled up. They didn't headhunt. Didn't hit him in the head.
There is still nowhere in that play that I see him take any contact to his head.
No, neither. Same here.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I've replayed it several times. I never see him take any contact to the head. He gets twisted up.
I don't think he got that concussion on that play. I think that's when it finally rang his bell and made him realize something was off.
Yeah.
I don't think he suffered it on that play.
What I find funny is like Mahomes' mother and his psychotic girlfriend, wife, whatever the fuck she is. They were cheering at that play at the goal line.
Oh yeah,
when that should have been a penalty.
The helmet to helmet,
100% should have been a penalty.
Yes,
but they were cheering about that. But this play with Mahomes, they up in arms about it, flipping out about it. Can't do that, man.
Yeah,
you're gonna be consistent about it.
And here's the thing that irks me the most, and I saw this earlier. I don't know if you did either one of you see Coward's
who?
Colin Coward's comments.
I fucking despise Colin.
Yeah, Coward. I was gonna say I don't pay attention to him.
This fucking guy suggested they moved the game until Patrick Mahomes was healthy.
This dude should never speak about sports again.
I know.
The second
Ever.
I heard that, I went, as a national media person, you can't suggest that they move a game because a guy is fucking hurt.
No.
For COVID, it was understandable, but they said it come playoff time, like whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Right.
Whoever's healthy is the one's playing. You're talking to people trying to get him to postpone
this
for
dude this dude should never fucking speak about
for
sports
an
again,
injury that happened in game.
Right.
A football injury.
What I want to know is some of these guys, I don't even think they believe.
No, they
shit
don't.
that comes out of their
I've
mouth.
said that for years. You know me. I've said that
there's
shit
no
for
way
years.
you can be a respected person and believe
Like you can't.
they should honestly postpone.
Right, like
that
some of the
fucking
things
game
that
because of that.
like Cowherd and
Skip Bayless.
Skip Bayless,
Yeah.
and Stephen A. Smith. So
Skip
all
Bayless is the guy who's just like, I'm going to say something that's so out of the realm of real that I'm going to hope at some point it turns true. So I can look at everybody and be like, I fucking told you.
Well, and I think they just say things just to they want to get their stuff out there. So they say the most outlandish, stupid shit just so it gets out there to everybody. And that's how they pay for their sponsors and everything.
Embrace debate. That's what it is.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
It's they literally just say things to be on the opposite side of what most people will be, so they can have that shock and that back and forth. And to me, I hate that. I think you should say how you feel, say what you mean,
and don't bullshit about
Yeah,
it. Just be real about it.
yeah,
man.
it's
That's
just-
like because clearly, like you just said, some of the shit these guys say, it's just like there's no fucking way you believe that. No fucking way you believe that.
We've said that about some of the local guys here
yep.
On radio
Yes,
too.
we have.
Several of them. You messaged us one day about something, and you responded with, "He doesn't believe 50% of the shit that comes out of his own mouth, so or 75% or whatever."
We're not talking about Lomas getting excited about
No, not that one. No,
no.
but yeah, they don't even believe this shit. But Back to the game a little bit. You brought up the helmet to helmet.
I did. Which should have been a penalty. They should have had the ball. That would have got him down to what? That would have been a 15-yard penalty.
So they fumbled the ball at the one, at which it went out of the back of the end
Which
zone.
I know that penalty doesn't bother you, but it does kind of bother me because I'm sorry, nobody recovered it. The offense should get the ball back.
So go
I'm
ahead.
not
Ryan.
going to say I agree, but I don't understand the logic behind the rule.
So after you brought
Maybe
it
not
up,
at the goal line. Maybe put it back at like the 10 or the 20.
right?
Cool.
So that's what I would think too.
Yeah.
Is and after you brought it up, so I had to take a timeout on Sunday after that game because I just needed to wind down a little bit.
Woosah.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
And I was just mad at the whole situation. I was like, I need to like just come down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I went to the store, then I came back and I actually invited my mom over and we took down my Christmas decorations. And I kind of didn't even watch like 3/4 of that Tampa Bay game.
He invited his mom over to do housework.
Well,
That's not even nice.
I ordered dinner.
Oh, okay.
I got dinner from I won't announce it, but I got some chicken and some potatoes, and I said, "Hey, Ma,
Chicken Shack."
Yeah, I said, "Hey, Ma, are you doing anything? Do you want to come over and help
Big
me?"
mystery.
I know, right?
All right. Well, I didn't want to give free advertising.
If we're free advertising for anybody, Chicken Shack's a fine one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can live with that.
So I just wanted to unwind, and I didn't want to think about football or anything like that. So I did that, and the more I thought about what you brought up is that play going out of the back of the end zone and not being recovered by anybody, but still being turned over to the defense. And I first told you I didn't have a problem with it.
Yep.
Because it's the rule. Mm-hmm. And in a sense, I still am like that. It's the rule. It's always been the rule. So I don't really have a problem with it. I'm not going to be one of those people that, oh, my team got screwed by the helmet to helmet. My team got screwed by the ball going on. That's not the case, right? The Browns screwed themselves in that game. They have nobody to blame but themselves.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, I kind of agree with you. Actually, thinking about that rule is it's a dumb rule.
It's an incredibly dumb rule.
There's
it's a
just
dumb
no
rule.
logic to it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't get it at the one then. Like if you fumble it at the one, it goes out of bounds. But you're right. You should put it back to maybe the 10, the 15, or the 20, something like that. But you shouldn't just take the ball away.
No.
I mean, even if you looked at it and you're like, okay, to the back of the end zone, we're going to review the play. The last team to touch the ball is the one who fumbles it, and the other team gets the possession. And if you want to start the offense back on the one,
But even that,
fine.
because if
whatever.
nobody recovers it, then the offense should keep it.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that one now that I thought about it afterwards. It is kind of a dumb rule. I don't necessarily have a problem with it because it's been that way for a long time, but it is a dumb rule. And I think unless there's a clear recovery, they shouldn't lose possession of it.
No.
They should look to change that. And they're actually, I'll put money on this one. They're going to look to change reviewing helmet-to-helmet contact.
Oh, yeah.
That will happen. Next year, the rule will be you can review helmet-to-helmet contact.
Oh, yeah, that'll definitely happen.
This is going to be one of those playoff plays that is going to change the rules.
Right now, we're just dragging this out, but I feel like in the next few years, anything that's an opinion-based call is about to be reviewable, and it almost has to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to allow for human error, you have to allow for the correction of human error.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, the NFL has so many stoppages in play as it is now. Why not add a few fucking more to get the play right?
Well,
like, honestly, at this point, what difference does it make?
Yeah.
That play, for example, wouldn't have been anything. It wouldn't have stopped anything really, because it was within the final 2 minutes of
So they would have
the
reviewed
half.
it anyway.
It would have been reviewed upstairs, and it would have come down.
Right.
There really would have been no more stoppage to that game.
I'm just talking about in general, though.
No, I know.
Like,
I'm just saying in this instance,
Yeah.
if you're looking at it just in this instance, literally, if they reviewed that, it wouldn't have taken hardly any time away from it at all. So in the long term, you won't take that much time away from the games if you make some of these other things.
And most of these refs got to gather anyways and sit there and discuss everything. You're
Well,
just bypassing that and going straight to a review.
They say player safety is top of their priority, right? Right?
Sure.
Okay.
People still believe that.
Yeah. So they say, that's what they say.
Yeah. That's
So
what
in
they say.
that case,
Well, I
try
say
to live.
money is.
I say bullshit.
Yeah. But in that case, if this is what you're going to put this is what you're going to stand your product on is player safety, then actually back that up just a little bit and have these hits helmet to helmet, which you've tried to cut down on. You actually have a targeting rule in the NFL now.
Yeah.
Whereas a player can't put the crown of his helmet down and lead with the crown of his helmet, spearing. Then actually make it part of the rules that you can review that and call it, because that's how you cut down on player injuries.
I agree with you.
So that's my issue with the game, and I'm never gonna say that they lost because of that call.
No, because they didn't.
There's a lot of fans that are out there doing it, and I've called them all losers, same as I call Lions fans losers. That's a loser mentality.
It is.
It is.
And a Lions fan today actually came up to me and said, "Oh man, see, it doesn't feel good when the refs screw your team." I was like, first of all, the refs didn't screw them; they screwed themselves. They had a chance to win that game several times,
Yeah,
and that happened in the first half.
You know what's got to feel pretty good though?
What?
Playing in January and having that conversation, because Lions fans don't fucking know that feeling.
Yep,
That's true.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they didn't get screwed. That's what. Not to mention they had plenty of chances to win the game, and not to mention you're facing fucking Chad fucking Henne.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the dude was still in the league till fucking Sunday.
He threw one pass longer than like 8 yards.
Well,
and he threw a fucking interception on that pass.
yeah.
let me just say this. Andy Reid has
That
the
wasn't even
biggest.
close,
that was
by
some
the way.
stones, man.
Andy Reid has the biggest cojones I think I've ever seen, because nobody on planet Earth
No.
thought they were running a play.
We were talking in our group chat. I'm like, there's no way he fucking runs a play. No way. And he
Nobody on planet Earth thought he was running a play.
No.
The body language of every player on that team
Yep.
said they're not running a play.
Right.
The defensive line could have been in lawn chairs. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, that's how relaxed they look.
The offensive line could have been in lawn chairs. The whole offense spelled nothing but we're letting this run down and we're taking the penalty.
Yep.
The whole
Imagine
offense.
if like one defensive tackle is just like gunning for it. Everybody's so chill, and then all of a sudden, fucking like 2 or 3 linemen just get blasted right off the line.
Like it was such a chill looking play that nobody thought anything was happening,
Right.
and Andy Reid had some stones. Man.
And if you go back, every time they've been in that position, they've run that play.
Yeah.
They showed highlights right after the game, like 3 different times that they ran that exact play to Tyreek Hill, where he sits. Like that play is probably their most practiced play.
So before we move on to the next game, or the other games that we're going to talk about, I wanted to throw out there with this one, from my fan perspective, now that I've chilled out and I've come down from being angry, they achieved more than I ever thought they would this year. So
It's a bright future for sure.
they have a lot going for them. They need to address the defensive side of the ball. I've talked to you guys about that.
Yes, they do.
I'm proud of them. I think they did a great job this year. They achieved way more than I expected. Now, take the fan part out of me, and I'm going to say they were there and they could have achieved more. So they beat themselves in that game, really, because they knocked out Mahomes and they had a chance, and they really just kind of failed to get past that hump that, like, last week was their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that was they were let down this week. They didn't come out with the same energy this week because that was their Super Bowl. Is they weren't really expected to make the playoffs, let alone beat Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
Yep.
So they spent themselves, and they need to come back next year with a bigger fire.
Which I think they will.
And I think they will too. I agree.
I think they will. I think your head coach needs to get a little bit better too, in some of his game planning.
In all honesty, I think he just needs to grow some balls. And I don't say that like to offend anybody. I think he just needs to get a little riskier with some calls. Stop being so conservative with everything.
I think he needs to stick with the run more, because there's been times where he gets away from the run. If they stop it early, the first few drives a little bit, then he just basically gets away from the run completely, and you can't do that. You saw they came back, and that you even said it. The second half they were running all over the place.
Yep.
If you do that from play one, then you've worn that defense down by the third quarter, fourth quarter, and you're able to run all over them.
That team, if you're running the entire game, Kansas City can't keep up with you.
I think it's a totally different game if the first half plays out like the second half.
Patrick Mahomes is an incredible quarterback, but you can't make up for proper usage of a clock.
Yeah.
And the ability to just have the ball.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That should have been their game plan from Jump Street.
That's a Super Bowl winning game plan.
Right, absolutely.
If you just do that.
And with that being said, I won't dog him too much because, listen, he took a team that won a total of 14 games the last 4 years prior, because they won one game, then they went 0-16, then they won 7 and 6. So that was 14 games in previous 4 years. They won 12 this year. So this team wasn't that much different than the team last year that only had 6 wins.
No, they had competent head coaching.
Yeah,
but
so he needs to improve in certain areas, but he did a hell of a job this year with that team, truthfully.
And the one thing that I took away from watching that game, because at the end of it, I had texted you and I said I literally find myself rooting for the Browns right now, and that's not something I ever expected to do.
And you know what? You're one of the only Lions fans to do that, because I've gotten a lot of hatred over the last couple weeks from Lions fans telling me.
I don't give a fuck what team it is. If it's fun to watch and I'm enjoying it, I'll root for them. I'm a Lions fan who roots for Aaron
Rodgers. That's
my
Padres fandom.
Well, that's
I like watching the team. They're a fun team to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm a Lions fan who roots for Aaron Rodgers every week, even when he's playing the Lions.
Well, that's me with the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I like what the Dolphins were doing the last couple of years. I said at the draft before they even drafted Tua, I like what they've been doing. Then they drafted Tua, and I'm like, I'm even more on board now. I'm not a fan per se, but I like watching that team. They have a good defense that plays out of their minds. You know what I mean? Like, they have a good young team. I like watching them.
And with Cleveland, it's just a situation where they've now gone from a laughingstock to now being a team that I'm not going to say it's appointment viewing for me, but if they're on, I'm going to watch that over a lot of other teams.
Yeah. There's definitely been a lot of hatred from Lions fans recently, though. I will tell you that. There's been a lot of hatred from Lions fans, and it's basically,
it's always nice to know somebody's got it worse than you.
Right. It's saltiness for the fact that they could always point to Cleveland as being worse than them before, and now all of a sudden they're trying to diminish their accomplishments of making the playoffs and winning a playoff game, and say, well, no, they're still the Browns. Nah, dog, they're not. That's done now. You can just absorb the fact that your team is.
You are the worst organization in professional
Your team
sports.
is the worst. So.
Yes. You know who's not the worst? My guy Jason
Stiller.
That's right. Do you know now is a great time to purchase a home or even refinance an existing home? And soon, we talked about this before the show. All three of us will be looking here shortly. So definitely going to give that guy a call. Call my guy Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank. It'll give you the top-notch service that you're looking for. Flagstar is currently offering a 0% down home purchase program. However, the program won't last long, but the rates are incredibly low. So give my guy Jason Stiltner a call today at 248-867-50675. So you don't miss this great opportunity. That number again is 248-675-0675. Flagstar Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC, NMLS number 27546. I got lost there. Sorry. Yeah, that was bad. I got lost there.
You got lost somewhere between 2s and 5s.
I got lost between the moon and New York City. Sorry, guys.
You stupid.
That's accurate. Yes, 100%.
English is a hard language.
It is a hard language.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. You stupid. I guess next we'll get into
I do Packers Rams Packers Rams.
Yeah, we can do Packers
Rams.
Packers Rams. I think that game
was kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie.
It really was, and I think it played out like most of you thought it would.
Yep. I don't think there was a good game this weekend. They were all kind of boring in my opinion.
Yeah, even the Tampa Bay New Orleans game was kind of...
I didn't watch 3/4 of it.
So. You really didn't miss all that much.
For two goats, as everybody kept wanting to call them. I did that just to
I know you did.
I know.
Irritates the hell out
Let's
of
see,
me.
I want to discuss that for just a minute after you're done.
But for two of the greatest to ever play this game, which is completely fair to say about both of them.
Yes.
I was expecting so much more than we got.
As was I.
And this is a matchup that I would have given teeth to have had 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not. Tom Brady is at the tail end of doing Tom Brady things. And Drew Brees has just had father time passing by, unfortunately.
He's done.
Well, and Tom, at 43, was second in touchdown passes. I believe third in yards. Mm-hmm. I mean, say what you want about Tom Brady and whether he's done or not, and what he's done in his career, whether you think he's the GOAT or not, or whether you think that it was, Belichick or not. The dude's still insane for 43.
Mm-hmm.
Third in yards, second in touchdown passes. Like 43 years old, man. Like, I'm 42. I look at him like, what the fuck are you drinking?
He's eating quinoa.
He's eating quinoa and avocado toast.
Right.
So I need to start dipping into the avocado toast.
Man, looking at this, and if this is his final game, which all signs point to that it is for Drew Brees. Man,
yeah, it is.
God, what a shitty way to go, man.
It is.
Fucking,
but
19-34, 134 with 3 picks.
I think he knows he's done because if he came back next year, it wouldn't be any better.
No,
he wouldn't leave with a better.
No,
a better outing.
I sent it to you guys earlier. Michael Thomas had even came out and talked about it, and he said straight up, like, Michael Thomas has got to have 4 surgeries, I think it is, this offseason.
Yep.
And he said there was no way he was going to sit out knowing that this is Breeze's last run.
Right.
Like, he's going to give him every chance he can. And, I mean, that speaks volumes to who the person Drew Brees is and everything.
Right.
But none of that matters. All that matters is if you're able to play. And unfortunately, that's still not there.
Nope.
Yeah, and I'm one of the biggest backers of Drew Brees as a person. Like, I just like the guy as a person. You know, any interview I've ever seen of him, he's just a really good dude. And he cares about the city of New Orleans. He cared about him at a time where the city needed him to care.
You want to talk about good dudes? Let's talk about Tom Brady throwing the ball around with Breeze's kid afterwards.
And I wanted to get to that because that was one of the. You sent a picture of it, and it was about something else. But that picture, if you saw the video of it,
I did.
Tom Brady after the game went and met with Drew Brees and tossed a football to one of his kids. And I think that just speaks to both of those guys. And I want to say that I admire that from both of those guys because Drew Brees just probably played the last game of his career.
You've got mail.
Drew Brees probably just played the last game of his career. And yet he's fully involved with his kids. He's absorbed with being present with his children. Even with Tom Brady there, he's still helping his daughter do handstands and still talking to his kids and playing with his kids. I admire, as a father, I admire that. That is a good man right there. He played his last football game and he's out there playing with his kids and being fully involved in playing with his kids and in saying goodbye to Tom Brady for the last game. That says a lot to me. And I can't help but root for the dude and I'm a fan of him as a person. So yeah.
That's fair.
He was the underdog walking in and I mean, turned it into one hell of a career.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a goat. He's one of 8,000 goats.
Yeah. So I guess let's get to that, right?
Yes.
So Frank, you said you kind of understood what they meant, and I get what you mean, right?
Yes.
They're two of the greatest to ever play, right? Two of the greatest to ever do it.
As a person of not the current generation that's now growing up, but just one generation removed from it, I understand why they constantly call great athletes goats. But there is like the serious thing that needs to be talked about in sports, and that is basically what you're trying to say. You can't have multiple greatest.
You can't.
Like, you can have the greatest.
Yes.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's the GOAT. LeBron's just a really good player. Tom Brady, in my opinion, is the GOAT.
That's fair.
Drew Brees is just a really good player.
Right.
Peyton Manning, great player.
Not GOAT.
Not the greatest.
Exactly. That's my point. And then the headline that I shared with you guys, it was, those guys talking after the game and whatnot, and the headline read, 2 GOATs. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. They're not 2 GOATs. There's one, and then the other's like a really great player. You can't have 2 fucking GOATs.
And the term GOAT only the last 5-10 years has been used as the acronym.
Yeah.
Before that, it was known as like a dumbass, somebody who made a dumbass
play. Yeah.
So when you
he's
say,
the real GOAT of the game.
Here's the GOAT.
Yeah, right.
It's like, no, you just pointed to everybody who knows anything about sports and told them that these are 2 of the idiots who just lost this game for somebody.
Well, see, and that's saying they're 2 of the greatest to ever play is a statement.
Yeah, 100%.
That's true because they're 2 of the greatest to ever play that position.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the term GOAT, there's one. There's one GOAT.
Yeah.
There's one greatest of all time at each position, in each sport, and that's just the way it is. I mean, you can't say it's 2 GOATs. It's 2 of the greatest to ever play the game.
Yes, absolutely.
But the term is overused in my opinion.
Incredibly overused.
Yeah, like if you want to talk about like in the 90s, using basketball just as the example, nobody was calling AI a GOAT.
No.
Nope.
Incredible player. No.
Not a GOAT.
He was just a good player
yeah.
at the time when the greatest was playing.
Yeah, I also want to give a shout out to my Uncle Joe. Thanks for listening again. Appreciate it. He said a few things that we didn't catch. I was not paying attention to the comments here, so I didn't catch them. Sorry, Uncle Joe. But he dipped out on us, said he'll watch the end later on. So
did he say anything about Notre Dame?
No. Love you, Uncle Joe. Appreciate it. But no, he said at least the Lions fans are watching us. And then he said the Browns and Mayfield did themselves proud and beyond that they were impressive. So yeah,
and he's right. Like I said, like that's a team that was unwatchable. That's just become one of the more exciting teams to watch.
Yes.
So yeah, and I don't want to get back into that. I just want to acknowledge his comments. We try to acknowledge everybody's comments. We want them, and I apologize. I wasn't looking in on those.
Yeah,
and
totally
again, Jay.
off of it.
Yeah, and again, Jay. Thanks for listening, bud. Appreciate it. Love you, brother.
Appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate you listening.
I've been to the Green Bay LA game really quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, honestly, this Green Bay straight up kicked their ass.
They did, and Aaron Donald was clearly hurt.
Yeah, 100%.
Clearly hurt.
Absolutely.
For anybody to say that he failed in that game, it pisses me off because he's such a great player. He was clearly hurt and clearly was not 100%. So you didn't get 100% out of him.
You absolutely did not get 100. There was something like ribs or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it came out yet. Like what exactly what was wrong with
I think
him,
they said abdomen,
was
but
it
I'm not 100% sure what.
But yeah,
it is.
he was definitely not Aaron Donald. He
no,
just wasn't.
And he showed it after the game too.
Yep.
That dude was crying.
Yep.
Because he felt bad because he couldn't give what he wanted to give to the team. So.
And now it comes out there's problems in LA with McVay and Jared Goff.
Yes.
Big surprise.
Didn't see that coming.
Didn't see that coming at all.
Didn't see that one coming.
But I'm curious to see what goes on with that situation, to be honest with you. But you know how I feel about Jared Goff. I think he's an incredibly overrated quarterback. But well, I'm curious to see what goes on. So whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah. There's one thing I want to address, and I'm kind of springing this on you guys. But there was I know you guys don't care if we spring things on each other because it kind of helps with the show. But so I
thought you were saying we didn't care about whatever you were about to say.
Well, you might not actually either. So it might not be you might not care about anything really. I had a social media interaction with. You're on Twitter a lot. I'm on Facebook a lot when it comes to the sports stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you have some of the same interactions that I do, only on a different media, right?
I have no doubt.
So there was this weekend. Sparty fan decided to crawl out of the woodwork, crawl out of their hole that they've been living in.
Yep.
In order to bash the Michigan basketball team for losing
for
finally.
One shitty game
for finally losing.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay.
There was that, and it was like his quote was, "Hey Michigan fans, you want to talk about it?"
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was it.
You want my comments on this, and I'll make them as simple as possible. Sparty fans, you're starting to sound like Michigan football fans.
It's so I looked up something, right? And this spurred me to look something up, right?
Literally what I think about it at this point.
You're right. You're right, because everything that Sparty fans hate about Michigan,
You are them now.
you are them now.
Yeah.
In terms of with the basketball team, you are them.
So it's
Tom Izzo is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach in college basketball, no doubt. 20 years ago.
You've lost 4 games so far this year. Michigan won 11 straight, and you crawl out of your hole that you've been in because you've been saying, "Oh, this basketball season doesn't count. It doesn't matter because of COVID, and nothing matters. Nothing matters.
Oh,
nothing
it doesn't
matters."
matter now? It mattered when they were like ranked number 3.
It mattered when they beat Duke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when they beat Duke, they were going to the national championship.
But when they were losing a bunch, lost 4 games, no, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, right? Now all of a sudden Michigan loses, and you want to crawl out of your hole and say, "Do you want to talk about it, Michigan fan?" Hey, you clown, climb back into the fucking hole you crawled out of and shut the fuck up, because your team has lost 4 games.
Basketball is not the sport you do that with.
They're at the
You play
bottom.
Too many games in that sport for you.
Especially
if it's football where there's
especially
16.
in the Big Ten, which is absolutely fucking stacked.
Right.
Like,
Really? That's the route you want to go? Come on.
One bad game and you want to crawl out of the woodwork and say, "Oh, you want to talk about it?"
Especially
Fuck,
when
then-
it looks like you're going to get worked
And
when you
then
play them.
and then when you come back at it, which I did, because I basically told him to shut the fuck up, crawl back into the hole he came out of.
Because you can't help yourself.
Because I just can't. And I called him a clown and several other things. Then he says to me, "Oh, it seems like you're triggered." Is that the go-to word for everybody when you debate them now? When you come back at them,
yeah.
It's you didn't trigger me, bro. You just I hate you as a person. I hate you because I hate fans like you. So you didn't trigger me by doing any or saying anything. I just like to hate on you, and prove you wrong in the fact that you're an idiot.
Right. You said something to me. Do you want me to respond to you? So if I respond to you, I'm triggered.
Right.
That's how you
Right.
take that. Then
Right.
you're a fucking idiot. And now I really don't want to have this conversation whatsoever because I don't like talking to ignorance.
Literally, you both just used the word. You probably just used a lot of words to explain that he was an idiot.
Yeah.
And the guy was made to look stupid.
Yeah. Like
And then the whole post was on a Pistons fan page.
Oh, even better.
Why
are you on it?
That had I'm for the show.
Oh, okay.
I'm on a lot of sports pages. For
We
the
talk
show.
about basketball?
No, but if we're going to, I need to know what's going on, right?
Yes.
And I share some of our stuff on there. So when it comes down to it, it was shared on a page it shouldn't have been shared on. You came out and said something you shouldn't have said. You got lambasted by everybody, including me, who you went back and forth with, and every once in a while basically just threw out the triggered comment.
You're triggered.
And then when I called you out for the last time, basically, and made you look like a fool completely, he deleted the entire post.
Did he really?
Deleted the entire post.
Oh, how gutless is that?
I was the last person to comment anything. My last comment on there,
yeah.
Like a minute later, because I was going back and forth with him.
Yeah.
He deleted the entire post. It had probably 100 some comments on it, and it had like tons of reaction. The dude deleted it.
What a pussy.
Exactly. If you're gonna
Don't say dumb shit if you can't take the
Right.
backlash.
if you're gonna come out there and say stupid shit, you know what? I would have more respect for you if you'd just backed it up, argued, it's not said triggered,
right.
Argued, and kept it up there. But you didn't. You were a vagina about it. You came out, you had nothing to say.
That's so gutless.
Other than to say I was triggered every time I came at you with something.
Right.
And then you deleted your post. You're a vagina.
I mean, that's triggered in my opinion. If you're gonna delete it,
Right.
come on.
That's
dude.
clearly
Come on,
triggered.
bro.
So clearly in this case, the Michigan fans weren't the ones triggered.
This is the thing with especially with social media. Like when I interact with somebody,
You have a weird look on your face right now.
This is I try
It's
to
not
ask
intentional.
like I try to ask people before I even interact. I'm like, all right, so how old are you? First of all, I want to know that,
Right?
Because if you're like a 20-year-old, I honestly I don't care about your opinion.
And the last thing I want to do is end up in a fucking
Right.
chat room argument.
I was
with
like,
a
so are you
12-year-old or some shit?
Right. I was like,
Yeah.
are we actually going to debate this? Or are you going to be like a fucking pussy and
Yeah.
say, oh, you're triggered, or oh, look at your followers or whatever shit like that? Are you actually going to debate me about this or
Yeah.
talk like have a rational conversation about this? Or are you going to be a bitch? If you're going to be a bitch, then I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
I don't. I got better things to do with my life than argue with a fucking person who lives in mom's basement. Like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, it was. It's rare that I get into discussions on social media because the majority of them are fucking pointless.
It's how many times I have typed something out in a response to something somebody says,
Yeah.
and then
I'm
deleted
just
it
like, it's not
and went
worth it.
went about my day and
Yeah.
just said I'm not
Like,
even
it's
gonna
not
do
worth it. Like, I don't.
No, I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, I type out a full response and then I delete it all and I go, it's just not worth my time. It's just not.
I do
really
that
isn't.
with real arguments too anymore.
What's that?
Like I'll type out a whole response to somebody if I'm ready to argue with them.
Yeah.
I'll delete the whole thing and just not respond.
Right.
Yeah.
Just be
It's
like,
like,
"Oh,
I don't care.
okay, I got it off my chest.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't have agreed anyway. I'll just leave it at
It's
that.
not worth it.
You can't argue with stupid. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't argue ignorance.
You
can't.
can. It just makes you stupid.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's just not worth it sometimes. But that one, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
I was just like, you're an idiot,
So
man. Like I just
stupid.
have to. I have to because I hate your kind.
If
I hate your
there's
kind.
Two things right now in Michigan college sports that don't need to be going on. Sparty, keep Michigan basketball out of your mouth. Michigan, keep Sparty football out of your mouth.
Fair.
Yeah.
Both of you, at this point, it's not going to change. There's no reason for you to think this is going to change anytime soon. One of you gets your ass kicked by the other one every single time.
Well, and when it comes down to it, it's funny. I looked this up after this whole argument and everything. There was actually a Bleacher Report poll done, or a ranking done of fans that have an unhealthy obsession with their rivals.
Michigan State fan with Michigan fan.
Michigan State with Michigan fan.
Oh,
was at the top.
I believe that 100%.
And it was. I looked it up. I'm like, and that was actually.
Even as a Notre Dame fan, I'll openly admit I have an unhealthy obsession with Michigan. I just love to dog the shit out of them.
Well, and that's it said in this article that state fans, every single Michigan game, for them to watch them, if they lose, then they can say something about it. And if they win, they don't say shit. And it was basically along those lines of Michigan State fan pays more attention to Michigan games than they do Michigan State games. And it's an unhealthy obsession.
That's just sad.
That was one of the last things that I posted for this guy. I literally clipped the article and shared it with this guy. That was the second to last thing I put out there before he deleted that post.
It's just sad. Like, just worry about your own fucking team. Like,
Right,
honestly.
like what do you? So they lost one game, and it goes for Michigan fan too.
To me, that just seems like you're more of a fan of Michigan than you are of Michigan State.
Right.
The sad thing is, when I realized it was a problem, we're going to have a little therapy session about this real quick.
Let's get it out.
The moment I realized it was a problem when I was watching Michigan games, it wasn't when they were losing all the time, because that just made me happy. It was when I realized, and this is an honest opinion, or even watching Michigan lose was still a better football game than the Michigan State game. And I'm a State fan.
Yeah.
I'm just speaking what I believe is true. When I watched the Michigan game and went, even though this team sucks, like, this is so much of a better game to watch than the other one.
Well,
Like-
and it goes for Michigan fans too. And we said this when Michigan State
They
lost.
do that with Ohio State.
What's that?
Michigan fan does that with Ohio State.
Yes.
They do. 100% they do. Yes.
Yeah, I guess. But they do it with Michigan State too.
Like
The
when
amount
Ohio,
of times I saw "fuck them, go blue" during the national championship game.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Well,
why
I
are you
mean-
saying "go blue" right now? You've been at home for 3 months.
I mean, rooting against them is fine. I rooted against.
No, so
Ohio
did
State.
I. But
when it comes down to it, I'm not going to come out and say, "Oh, they lost a national championship game." I mean,
But Michigan fan will do that.
They at least made it there.
yeah,
Like, that's,
Michigan fan will fucking do that, especially towards Ohio State.
Well, and the Michigan fan did it at the beginning of the year in the football season when Michigan State lost to Butgers.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it was it was. I didn't do it.
do we need to play that episode back?
Yeah.
Y'all were hating on State for
No,
that game.
I'll admit I did. I crushed State for
Listen,
losing the Bikers.
we talk on a show about it, so that's a little different than me coming out and like yelling at my State fan friends and going, "Oh, you lost
which
to
is
Rutgers."
true. I will say you did
It's-
not do that.
It's different. Like I'm not gonna go texting or putting on social media like, "Ha, where you at, Michigan State football fan?" No, that was just
No,
stupid.
I-
we talked about it on the show, and I bashed
did
them
do
because they
anything like
lost
that.
to Rutgers.
But I did.
That-
I did bless Michigan State on that following show. I did for
Yeah.
losing to Bikers 100%, and for the same reason Joe just gave.
You're
But at the same time, where we were at in that season, they had every reason to get
Yeah.
ripped. Like, you would just lost to a Rutgers team the first game of the year when Rutgers hasn't done shit in fucking 30 years.
right. And as it turned out, Rutgers was much better than we anticipated.
Yeah.
And again,
But it comes
It's-
back to what you tell us every week. 1 week overreaction. 1 week overreaction.
Yeah.
Especially this year.
Yeah.
Which was it was a different kind
I
of
mean,
year.
at this point,
It's-
you can have week 19 overreaction.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense. but-
everybody knows I have a lot of pet peeves, and I preach that one on this show all the time. 1 week overreactions, drastic overreactions, and that's what it was. But it's fans doing it to fans that I can't stand. If we come on the show and we bash a team for laying an egg and taking a shit on the field, that's one thing. But I'm not going to be a Michigan fan that goes out there and goes, Michigan State fans, where you at right now? You just lost to Rutgers. I'm not going to do that, first of all, because Michigan lost to Appalachian fucking State. So I'm not going to fucking come out there and say that, because when I look back on it, that's all I can see is Michigan lost to Appalachian State. So
Hearing that still makes me so happy.
I'm not going to come out there and say anything about that.
Middle Tennessee State makes me fucking smile.
Yeah.
and
And
for
to me,
every
that was the
reason
worst.
it should.
And to me, that's a worse loss.
I mean, it's two different sports.
Yeah.
So
They're I think they're equally as bad. But
Yeah.
but either way, I didn't come out there and say anything about that to Michigan State fan, and I don't think you did either. When
No,
it comes down to this,
I don't think
aspect of it.
anybody said anything, because I think everyone was truly surprised that they managed to lose to Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah. So it's just fans need to worry about your own teams, and when your rival loses, chill the fuck out.
I mean, and that
Just chill out.
And that game destroyed my bracket, but I didn't care. I was happy. Like, 'cause I picked. That's the one year I've ever picked Sparty to win the whole fucking thing.
I remember this conversation.
And I was like, you know what? I don't even care.
I don't.
My bracket's destroyed on day one.
So many people had State winning. That
I did.
year.
That's the only year I've ever picked them to win the whole thing.
Before we get into the picks, the football picks.
Yes.
Did you guys want to talk about any of the other new hires? We got Urban Meyer to the Jags. We got Saleh to the Jets. The Chargers look like did they hire Brandon Staley? I think they hired Brandon
did.
Staley.
Yes, they did.
Did you guys have any thoughts on those?
I
know Frank might have thoughts on one of them.
Yeah. You want to talk about Uncle Herb?
Uncle Herb is now my uncle. And we established that the other day.
Okay.
You know what? In all honesty, if you're going to take a stab at a college coach and see how it works, it's the guy to do it with.
Yeah.
I have no complaints about that.
Yep.
Meyer as a person, I don't love the guy. I think he's got way too shady of a background with things that went down at Ohio State and Florida with Hernandez.
Yeah. The hell was that?
They had a very close relationship when they were down there, and that worries me a little bit. But overall, I don't really see Jacksonville doing anything with it. I think he'll be there for a year or two. He'll have some health issue like he does all the time, and he'll be out of there.
Okay.
I don't see it being a long-term fit.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I hope it is. I hope I'm completely wrong. He wins 8 Super Bowls.
It's an interesting hire. I'm curious to see how that goes. To me, I don't want to say it's like when Steve Spurrier came in.
No.
But
no.
It kind of has, to me, just a little degree of that to it. Just because he's been out of the game for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So
slightly, but I think in a slight way it is.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but
I'm not like full on, but
yeah.
I think in a slight way it kind of has that feel to me a little bit. It was kind of like we were talking about Shad Khan, and he wants to make a splash, and he did. Good for him. Do I think it'll work? No, I don't.
I think the biggest thing, though, with him making the splash, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, I think he's trying to get that team relevant so he can move them. Because I don't think right now London wants them.
I just think Urban Meyer, he is a college coach. I don't think he's an NFL guy. I just, and just like vice versa with Harbaugh. Harbaugh is an NFL guy. He's not a college guy.
Yeah. I actually am the opposite of you two. I actually think it will work.
Okay.
I mean, I hope you're right.
I think he's got the mentality and he's got the football mind. Granted, it's been in college. Mm-hmm. My personal thought on it is he just is a great football mind, and I think he's the kind of guy that he's a leader, and I think the players on that team, being that they're men and not boys, will still follow him. I think that he's a leader,
and he definitely has the resume to command the respect.
Right. So, and he's not a stupid guy either. He's not going to go in there and try and be a college coach to these grown ass men. I think he's got the smarts to be able to be the coach you need to be in the pros. And I'm not saying they're going to go out and win a Super Bowl anytime soon, but I'm saying I think he will work as a coach there. Okay. I think he will do pretty well.
I just think the guy's had too many health issues. If you notice, he retired at Florida because of health issues. He went to Ohio State.
Sanctions.
Yeah.
Retired for health issues.
Sanctions.
Health issues. Yeah.
Now that he's got an open checkbook, I don't know if he still has health issues or not.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can we put to rest the fact that he's going to draft Fields, because everybody seems to forget that the only connection there is Ohio State, and the fact that
he wasn't recruited by him.
He wasn't recruited by him. He transferred there after him. Like, everybody seems to forget that for some reason, and that's not. Let's drop that.
I think if you're going to make an assumption with an Ohio State quarterback, the one we talked about the other day is probably the best assumption. That is bringing in Haskins as a backup.
Yeah, and as a backup, he might do that because Haskins was in Ohio State under Urban Meyer, and in that case, Urban might want to help him, and might think that he can still get something out of him. So why not bring him in and be your backup, and also help the kid be an adult?
I mean, I see it being more realistic that he would take a shot at bringing Tebow back than I do him bringing in Fields at number one.
Right. I mean, it's let's be logical here. I don't care how you feel about Trevor Lawrence and what he's going to amount to. Trevor Lawrence is your pick. He's been your pick for 3 years now. He's your pick. He's your number one overall pick.
Unless Vontae Mack's there, you have to take Trevor Lawrence.
Vontae Mack.
So, I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been the number one this year for 3 years now. Yeah. Everybody's known it. So, he's the guy. And it's not going to be Fields.
No matter what.
I still love that movie.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's referenced at least twice a week on the show.
Yep. Any thoughts on the other hires? Saleh. I think the Jets actually got a good hire there.
Oh, dude, that I agree with. I think they did get. I can't believe he left Detroit without being signed here. That one would have somewhat piqued my interest.
I think that would have been a better hire.
I do as well. I 100% do as well. I don't know how he left. I don't know, again, that the collaborative that they have going on there, how the fuck he left Allen Park without being signed to a contract, but okay.
Did he even make it to Allen Park?
Yeah. or with Zoom call or whatever the fuck they're doing here.
I was gonna say, I know last week while we were on is when Holmes came in for his first official interview, but it was really his second. I don't know if they ever brought in Saleh for an official interview face to face.
From what I read, he was here face to face, and they didn't like him. The Lion, which I'm like, okay.
So he must know what he's doing.
I guess.
Well,
like the article we shared with each other, like he was a guy that would push back.
Yeah.
And the Lions organization
loves yes men.
Yes, they love the guy that'll toe that company line.
Yeah.
We've talked about it in text messages back and forth. It's the Lions ownership doesn't want somebody who's going to come in and tell them, you've been fucking up for 50 years. Your organization is a pile of garbage. We need to change a bunch of things.
Nope.
I mean, nobody wants to hear that they've been doing the wrong thing for 50 years, right? But you need to grow and have somebody tell you that you've been doing the wrong thing in order to do the right thing.
Yep.
So the Lions just don't want to hear that. And I think Saleh is one of those guys that he seems like he's not a bullshitter.
Yeah.
Like he's going to tell you flat out what's wrong. And I don't think they like that very much.
And not to mention being from here, he knows.
Oh,
he's
God,
seen it his entire life.
Right.
He knows.
So I think the Jets got that one right.
Yeah, I do too.
And I don't hate the Jets. I just hated Adam Gase. So I'm rooting for him. I hope Saleh does well there. I hope he takes them, as far as they can go. I personally think they're going to keep Darnold.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think they're going to draft another quarterback at number 2. So
a lot of mocks got Fields going at 2 now.
I just don't see them doing it because
I don't see it being a smart move.
I don't see Fields as number 2. I don't see Fields as number 2, man. I don't see
Fields as a number 2 draft pick first of all, and also I don't see Darnold as being done because he's had no offensive line. He's been running for his life. He's been hurt a lot because of that, and I think Adam Gase ruined him. I don't think Sam Darnold is done. I think he can be a much better player and a much better quarterback than he's shown, and I think the organization and Saleh will realize that. And the GM, Douglas there, I think he has a good grasp on the fact that Sam Darnold is a better quarterback than he's shown. So that's my thought on that one.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Staley hire to the Chargers?
I'm not too familiar with it, so I really can't comment too much on it.
I was going to say, until you said earlier, I didn't even know that's who they had hired.
Me personally, I think it's a lame duck hire. I think they should have just kept Anthony Lynn if they were going to make that kind of hire.
Okay.
You have a roster that can win right now. You have a young quarterback that doesn't cost you a ton of money that you can win now with. You don't go out there and get a guy that was a defensive coordinator and go.
I would have waited to try to get Bieniemy.
Can you roll the dice? Can you hopefully?
That's what I would have done.
And seeing Bieniemy is one of those guys. I'm sure you guys have heard the same thing I have.
Yeah, that he's maybe coaching waiting or whatever.
Well, no, that he doesn't interview well, and teams that have interviewed him haven't liked his interviews. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Reports come out and you don't know what's true and what's not because they don't really give a source and they don't really say what's fact. But it's just come out that his interviews haven't gone very well when he has interviewed. So, I don't know. I don't know how much that has to say about him or what's going on behind the scenes there. There's also been questions of his character in the past too.
Yeah, fair enough.
His past transgressions, but I personally think that's a cop out because if you held everybody, if you held against everybody what they've done in their past, then they never have a future. So I mean, everybody has shit.
That's true.
That they regret. So
that's the truth.
Yes.
All right.
Picks.
If you've had plumbing problems, you're definitely not alone. The next time you have an issue, there's only one place to call. Go to Pro Plumbing. They're a local family-owned company with 15 years of experience. Based in Centerline, they serve the Metro Detroit area, keeping your pipes clean and flowing with fair prices and happy customers. They're open 7 days a week for all your plumbing needs. The knowledgeable and experienced staff will keep you informed of their progress every step of the way to make your experience as smooth as possible. Call Go To Pro Plumbing today at 586-250-2881. That's 586-250-2881. Go To Pro Plumbing. When your pipes won't flow, call the pro.
It's time!
Yeah, Championship Sunday picks.
Yeah.
Very excited about this. Frank, good job. You went 4-0 last week. Good job, buddy.
That's what we were hoping for.
Yes, Joe, you went 2-2. I went 3-1. Okay, I can live with it. 3-1, not bad. 4-0, solid.
I questioned my picks last week. No, live on the air. I mean, I questioned them with you guys and said, hey, I don't know. I was going with gut feeling as opposed to my brain last week.
At this point in the season, I mean, that's all you have to go off of because you're talking the final 4 teams in this case.
They're all
last
good.
week, the final 8.
Yep.
So to judge who is actually better, that's literally why we're playing the game.
This is true. Let's go with the first game on Sunday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers.
Frank?
Tampa Bay. Going with Brady again.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know this. Fun fact, these are actually rematches from Week 6.
They are.
Both of them.
Yes.
Did not know that.
Yeah, both games were played in Week 6. The only thing is they were exactly reversed as to
where the game was played.
As to where the game was played.
Yes.
Okay.
Tampa Bay kicked the shit out of Green Bay.
They did.
In Week 6 in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different game, folks.
Yes, it is.
And this is January. This is in Green Bay.
Yes.
In January.
It's gonna be like 20 some odd degrees.
Yes.
If
So
they're lucky.
it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be very cold. So Tampa Bay players are not necessarily used to playing in this weather.
Nope.
But you know who is?
Tom Brady. Exactly. You kind of stole my point there.
Sorry,
Which
buddy.
is no, you're good. That's you knew where I was going with that. Tom is used to playing in these temperatures. He's used to playing in New England in the winter in an open stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Tampa Bay.
I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. I'm taking the Packers. Yes, like for the reasons you said, it's a different game. It's in Lambeau. Yeah, Brady can play in the cold. Can those other guys play in the cold?
Of course. Oh well,
That's-
I mean, they haven't played as many games in the cold.
Also, from that Week 6 game, one of the Tampa defensive players came out and with some bulletin board material says they didn't even belong on the same field with us. Talking about Rodgers and the Packers.
Oh, well, that's a bad move.
Yeah, I don't know if he said it.
I don't think anybody should say that.
I don't know if he said it
Rodgers.
this week or after that game.
After that game.
Still, because even Rodgers said, he's like, we'll see you down the road.
Speaking of Tampa Bay defensive players, I want to give a shout out to Sean Murphy Bunting.
Yeah.
Who went to Chippewa. He's
Oh, shit.
local. Went to Chippewa Valley. Went to Central Michigan. So he had a good game. I think he had an interception in that game. So just a shout out to a local guy.
Local kid doing it.
Yep.
Nice. So to me, this is a revenge game. I'm taking the Packers in Lambeau in the cold, probably snow as well. Yeah, give me the Packers.
Nice.
And I will say with this game, I mean, obviously every week I come on here and talk about how much I love Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins this game, I'm thrilled for. I'm just looking at this situation going, I'm not picking against Tom Brady.
That's fair.
You know what I love? The fact that there might be, we'll get to the next game, but the fact that Buffalo has a chance to go to the Super Bowl. And yet they might be playing against the same guy who has fucked them for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to see. I want to see Buffalo finally get to the Super Bowl again and have to play the same guy that has ass raped them year in and year out for 20 years.
I hate
Not that I'm
so
rooting
much that you just said that because that was literally going to be what I was going to say.
I just the thought of that possibility and just that irony is I love it.
Yep.
I absolutely love it.
It's
just irony. It's
great.
And I'm not rooting against your Buffalo Bills.
I know that.
I'm just saying.
But you're rooting for them because you want this to happen.
like
Because
they're my choice.
I really want that to happen because that's just such irony.
Yes, it is. Speaking of that, the second game on Sunday is the Buffalo Bills traveling to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. When you guys want to take this?
I mean,
I'll go first.
I was going to say it's your Buffalo Bills.
And
man.
it's hard because we don't know if
That's what she
Mahomes-
said.
Wow, you were really determined to get that one in
really
too.
there.
It's
He's like, that's what she said. That's what she said.
it's a habit now. I just automatically do it. That's what she said.
It's tough to pick this game right now because we don't know if Mahomes is going to play or not.
Yeah, I thought about that. It really is. I'm going to lean towards he's playing because
I
now
am
they're
too.
they're
They're
claiming
saying he's going to practice on Wednesday.
they're claiming it wasn't a head injury. They're
I told you this shit was
Well,
going to
no,
happen.
he got a concussion and only had the wind knocked out.
they're
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Andy Reid's quote was he got hit in the head and had the wind knocked out of him. I don't know how that happens. But also, they're saying now that it was a tweaked nerve in his neck.
Oh, so a tweaked nerve in your neck makes you look like you have no idea where the fuck you are.
I was gonna say,
like you're drunk.
Okay.
I've had a tweaked nerve, and it made me look like I just slammed a bottle of tequila. Because that's what that looked like to me. It looked like he had just drank an entire bottle of tequila and had no idea where he was.
I told you guys this shit on Sunday that this was going to fucking happen.
Yep.
There's no fucking way Patrick Mahomes does not play this game.
So I think they're trying to avoid the concussion protocol by
100%.
saying it was a tweaked nerve.
Yep.
Everybody who saw that will tell you.
He had no idea where he was.
He had no fucking clue where he was.
That dude didn't know he was on a football field.
No, absolutely not.
So
all that being said, if Mahomes plays, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Aye.
If Mahomes does not play, I'm taking the Bills.
Well, I tell you what. The line in this game.
It's 3.
It's
3
3.
and a half. Is it 3
No,
or
it's
3 and a half?
it's 3 right now.
Okay.
3 right now. It's in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And it's 3 points.
Yep.
That tells me that Vegas is worried about Mahomes playing.
Yep. Which they should be, because
that tells me because this game should probably be a 5-point spread.
Let's say 5 to 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
after watching that man come off the field, and I don't mean to interrupt you or anything, but after watching that man come off the field, even if he does play, I almost like Buffalo's chances more if he is playing.
All right.
What I want to happen, I want Buffalo to win. I have an affinity for Buffalo, family from there. You're a fan of them. I'm a big fan of Josh Allen, as we've talked about.
Like Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. And he talk about turning his career around. I mean, he came out in Buffalo this year and just proved that he really was that good of a receiver.
Like, really proved that Kirk Cousins is the problem.
Well, and of course, but receivers still look good underneath Kirk Cousins too, because Adam Thielen and the rookie Justin Jefferson still. It's just Kirk Cousins.
Detroit fans know that we had one of the best receivers to ever play the game.
Yeah, just can't win games. No, but with that being said, with this game, I'm gonna have to go with you, Chris. I'm gonna take the Chiefs in this one. I'm assuming that Mahomes is gonna be healthy. I'm assuming that he's gonna play. And with that being said, it's in Kansas City, and they are just that good of a team. Now, Buffalo can beat them. I'm not saying they can't. They definitely can beat them because Cleveland had them on the ropes, and it wasn't just because Mahomes got knocked out. They actually were keeping them to field goals quite a bit and keeping themselves in that game, and could have went into halftime even closer. So that game would have been a different story if they don't fumble that ball out of the end zone, and it has nothing to do with the penalty. Buffalo can beat them. I think Buffalo. This is the week where Buffalo's inexperience in the playoffs comes back to haunt them.
This reminds me of 2 years ago when the Chiefs played the Patriots.
Yeah,
that's exactly what this reminds me of. They're just. I don't think they're quite there yet.
I think you just nailed it right there. Is they're good enough? They're good enough to be in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
They just don't have the experience yet, and I think this is the week it comes back to bite them in the ass. Kansas City's been there.
Yep.
They've done that. I think they win this week.
Ye of little faith. I basically gave my pick away earlier when I got mad for you throwing out what I was about to say. But I
Sorry, I stole your thunder.
Well, in reality, you stole my thunder for not next week, the week after it would actually be. But the way that defense is played, and you and I have been talking about it now for about 3 weeks. I don't know what that defense has been on. I don't know what's been going on back there, what's going on. I have no idea what they're doing differently, but whatever they're doing differently in that defensive room, it's working.
Bounty Gate.
At this point, it might as well be. But with the way that defense has played now for the last 2 weeks, on top of the way they finished the regular season, I love the way that defense is playing.
They do.
And with a defense that plays like that, if Mahomes can play and they can get him moving and get him rattled real early on, it's going to take him completely out of that game. And Henne cannot compete with a defense like that.
The one thing Buffalo has to do is run the fucking football. That's
football.
one thing that they're not very good at doing.
They're so bad at doing that.
Well, from looking at the stats from last week, they had like 32 total rushing yards, I think it was.
Well, and they pretty much abandoned the run.
Yeah.
Which just because you can't run the ball at first doesn't mean you can't run the ball at all. You need to keep trying to establish the run. I mean, that's been proven in the league year in and year out. You have to establish the run. It just helps everything else move.
The only thing I'm going to add to that is the second thing I think they need to do, and it's a given every week, but especially this week, you got to hit the fucking quarterback.
Absolutely.
If no matter which one of them is playing, if you can get to them early and get to them hard, you're going to set the pace for the rest of that game.
If Chad Henne plays in this game, Buffalo
They're
wins.
fucking done.
Buffalo wins. All of what I'm saying, and I think you too, is based on it's based on Mahomes is healthy and playing.
I just think if Mahomes is playing and you can get to him early and you can get him rattled.
You've got to.
Done.
Well, especially after last week, seeing what happened to him and the not concussion, you have to hit him. Yeah, you have to hit him.
I'm curious to see how that defense comes out from the jump. I don't care who's playing quarterback. Do they just say fuck it early in the game, go after him, whoever it is?
And
that's what I would do.
I don't want to say this as like I'm promoting the violence and shit like that. But at the end of the day, if you are not working to get the quarterback taken off of that field on a stretcher, you're not doing your job this week.
Right.
Hit him so hard his girlfriend dies?
Yes.
You're not. Well played, sir. Well played.
I have him every once in a while.
But it's serious. Like you have, in reality, you have a guy on the ropes right now.
Yeah.
And if you can just come out swinging at him, you can take this.
You said it. You have to, as a defense, even though the cards are stacked against you, you have to come out and play to knock and not illegally, not dirty.
No.
But you have to play to knock guys out of the game. You have to play to hit them.
You need to come out looking for blood.
It's a collision sport. That's what it is. And you don't need to headhunt. You don't need to be.
No, there's a way to play this game where you still play it hard.
But you need to play hard, and you need to play to you need to hit guys to knock them out of the game. That's the way you need to play at all times.
And Buffalo's one of those teams that I look at and I just say, you know what, you still got a little bit of that old school mentality in you, and that city and the fan base is just absolutely insane. And I'm not going to call them the Cinderella story because, spoiler alert, I think Tampa Bay goes on to beat them in the Super Bowl. But
okay.
I think they're definitely a team that is hard not to root for,
dude. And
so
I don't know. I just love defensive football, and the way that defense is played is just had me really focused on them.
Right.
So
should be. I think they're both going to be really good games. So
I'm looking forward to this week's. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week's games, and hopefully they are better than last week's. So,
yes.
With that, those are the picks.
Are you tired of going from dealership to dealership looking for an automobile or boat? Get in touch with Land & Sea Motorsports. They specialize in finding you the car, truck, or boat that you're in the market for. At Land & Sea Motorsports, tell them the type of vehicle and features you want that will fit your budget. They also offer you shrink wrapping and winterization for all boats and jet skis. That really made you guys laugh, didn't it? If your boat or vehicle need any repairs or cleaning, they offer a full detail division as well. So give them a call at 586-484. Chris, I'm doing the number part here.
I could hear that. Thank you.
You want to help me? No. 586-484-9798. Or visit their website at landandseamotorsports.com. That's landandseamotorsports.com.
My name is Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
That was awesome.
You told me before the show, like, as soon as the picks are done, get into it. Okay.
I know, but it was just the way you did it. You whipped.
Yeah, exactly. That was it.
You whipped the paper up there, and then with literally no enthusiasm at all. Are you looking for? It was all enthusiasm, all enthusiasm with the arm and the paper, but nothing with the voice. It was. Are you looking for a car or boat?
That was solid.
I'm going to defend myself in that read because I almost have to do that sometimes with you two. Because at least this time you left the microphones on so people could hear you guys laughing hysterically at me.
Yes.
But usually you turn them down. And I have to fight through you two like laughing the entire time. So I have to focus on something and not be serious.
Actually, little do you know, I leave them up most of the time for all of our laughter. So there's very few times where I've actually cranked them down.
So the listeners know.
The listeners know that we laugh.
This is the type of shit I got to deal with, guys. It's fucking terrible sometimes.
That was great.
Yeah. Well, that's just my opinion.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
It really was just my opinion.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to get into before the show?
This weekend. Sorry, not to cut you off. No. I noticed Chris was going to talk too. This weekend, Poirier McGregor, going to be a big fight. Winner of that is going to hopefully get a shot at Khabib.
Oh.
And then they have announced officially UFC. It will be Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou in March, I believe March 27th. Winner of that takes John Jones.
Oh, got some big fights coming up.
A couple of big ones coming up in the next few months.
Yeah, I know, Chris, you don't watch hardly any of it.
The only interest I have in this is betting. That's it. Because we can legally bet online on Friday. Starting Friday.
Stay away from the McGregor fight.
I will bet on that fight because I think from one of the guys I work with, he's a huge UFC guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about the fight today, and he thinks this is easy money. McGregor's going to wipe the floor with him. I don't know. But I tend to trust this dude's opinion because he's pretty spot on with this stuff.
I will say if Conor still has it, he is right.
Okay.
The question is, does Conor still have it?
I would say he hasn't fought in a while, so
he fought last January, I think it was, against Cowboy.
From what he was telling me,
just real quick work, Cowboy.
From what he was telling me, the guy he's fighting he's kind of got a glass jaw.
Okay.
So
I mean, Dustin's definitely not somebody
put some money on it.
I think I'm going to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
I'm going to throw 50 on it. Let's do it.
There you go. Anything else before we get out of here?
Just to thank you to everybody that's listening, our followers, all that stuff. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, anybody that gives input, I think we've said this before, but if you're listening and you want to send us a message, please do. I know today I wasn't paying close enough attention, but send us a message. We'd love to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Hopefully on a day Joe is paying attention.
Yeah, and we'll throw that in. And
to be fair, I'm usually trying to help him out paying attention. I didn't do a good job with that one.
We both failed today. So if anybody wants to give input on any show that we're doing live, if you're watching live, give us some input. Give us some things you want to talk about. We are open to any discussion on any sports topic, so throw something out there for us.
Sounds good.
So, all right, with that, it's going to do it for tonight's show. Give us a like, a share, and a follow on our social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. As always, check out our website, sotdet.com. While you're there, take a look at our show pics and our blogs. Again, that's sotdet.com. Thank you to everyone for listening and watching. On behalf of Chris and Frank, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No. Bye, buddy.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
Goodbye.
No!
It's never goodbye.
Hey,
You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
You were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.